In the United States alone, 70,000 to 100,000 people suffer from a disease called sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia, the most common form of sickle cell disease, is a disorder in which abnormal hemoglobin, the protein responsible for transporting oxygen in red blood cells, cause blood cells to form a sickle or crescent shape. A person cannot just develop sickle cell anemia, they are born with it. Sickle cell anemia is caused by a point mutation in the hemoglobin beta gene and can only be inherited if a person receives one recessive allele for the mutated hemoglobin gene from both of their parents. The first known description of sickle cell anemia dates back to 1910 when a Dr. B. Herrick described a patient with symptoms such as asthmatic conditions and blood flow problems, two symptoms of sickle cell anemia. In 1952, Linus Pauling hypothesized that sickle cell hemoglobin acted differently from regular hemoglobin and stacked together, and he further hypothesized that it was the sickle cell hemoglobin that caused the cell to sickle. Symptoms of sickle cell anemia include pale skin and mucous membranes, cold hands and feet, headaches, dizziness, shortness of breath, jaundice, and fatigue. Periodic episodes of pain, known as crises, are also very common in those affected with the disease. Such crises can be acute or chronic, where acute pain can last anywhere from a few hours to as long as a week, and chronic pain can last anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. Along with these symptoms, sickle cell anemia greatly affects many systems of the human body, including the circulatory, respiratory, endocrine, and digestive systems. The abnormal shape of sickle cells makes it very easy for these cells to get stuck while circulating the body. When this happens, blood stops flowing to certain areas of the body, and these areas become deprived of oxygen. If the sickle cell does not become dislodged quickly, those organs can die, which ultimately would lead to a person's death. When sickle cells become stuck in a person's lungs, it can lead to acute chest syndrome. People with acute chest syndrome often experience chest pains, shortness of breath, and fever. Children with sickle cell anemia often grow slower than other children. This is a result of the treatments for sickle cell anemia. Many of the sickle cell anemia treatments contain large amounts of iron in order to remedy the sickle cell hemoglobin's iron deficiency. But over time, the iron builds up, and organs like the pituitary gland begin to work less efficiently. Since the hormones released by the pituitary gland stimulate sex hormones, such changes to the gland can result in a delay in puberty, causing children with sickle cell anemia to grow at a slower rate than others. Finally, hemoglobin is released when red blood cells die, and the body breaks it down into a compound called bilirubin. Sickle cells die after about 10 to 20 days, a sixth of the time that normal red blood cells live. This can cause an increase in bilirubin, and when there's an excess of bilirubin, gallstones can form in the gallbladder. Nausea, fever, vomiting, sweating, clay-colored stools, chills, and jaundice are all symptoms that a person with gallstones may exhibit. Clearly, sickle cell anemia is a harmful disease, but can it be cured? While children have been cured of sickle cell anemia through blood stem cell transplants, this treatment is not widely used, for genetic matches are few and far between, not to mention that the transplant is very dangerous. Generally, 3 medications are prescribed to people afflicted with sickle cell anemia: Droxia, Endari, and Cyclose. Also, drinking more fluids and avoiding decongestants, extreme temperatures, jobs that include a lot of heavy physical labor and/or involve working long hours, and airplanes that don't have pressurized cabins are some of the simple changes a person can make in their lives to decrease the chances of strokes and other complications. With such advancements in treatments, people with sickle cell anemia today often live into their 40s, 50s, or longer.